Hi, ST. Good evening to you.
All right, thank you, Nick. Thank you for.
Thank you so much for saying yes to be interviewed. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled You're Wordless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. I saw now a polymath. I think I kind of pegged myself as a polymath as well, but I never knew that term until I read your profile. So I had to Google it on, and I said, okay, jack of all trades. But I don't really want to say master of none because I'm pretty sure we did master some of the industries that we dip ourselves in. So allow me to introduce yourself to our listeners today, and then we can get right onto the conversation.
Sounds good.
Hey everyone, we have ST here with us. ST considers himself as a polymath professional in a way where he has embodied three qualities so far: being creative, being technical, and being personal, and utilizing those skills in every facet and work he has done so far. His career so has spanned across multiple industries and multiple facets, where he has worked in marketing, sales, technology, business development, and management across industries including technology, personal development, real estate, media, insurance, food and drink, travel, and lifestyle. He looks forward to tackling more industries in the coming years. He is the host of the Next in Time podcast. Oh, okay, fellow podcaster. Hi, where he interviews up and coming visionaries who are looking to make major impacts in the future with what they're building. Along with that, he is also the author of the book Havens Bree, a young adult coming of age story of a prep school student that starts a business with the help, guidance, and support of a homeless person. The book has been ranked #1 on Amazon in new release for teen and young adult fiction about homelessness and poverty. Wow, wow, wow. Welcome, ST. That's a
Yeah,
lot
thank
to
you.
unpack.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a lot of things that I've done over the past couple of years since I started my career. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yes. From the introduction itself, yes. So, okay, before we go down into the nitty-gritty of things, tell us, what was it like growing up as...
I mean, I was born in California, right, basically the heart of the Bay Area, and it was an interesting time because it was like the mid to late '90s and 2000s where a lot of events back and forth have happened. And I spent like until I finished high school. I was there. I grew up in California, but then I moved to Massachusetts for college, and I've moved down south. I've lived in the Midwest and the Mid-Atlantic of the United States. For your international audience, it's just different regions of the country. And I've also done graduate school, as I call a master's degree in the UK. So I kind of throughout my life, I've just been living in different places and really got to savor people, like different perspectives and different ideas and different experiences of other people living in different parts of the world. So I kind of had that sense that, okay, if I'm someone who wants to be know a lot of different people and get to know them and just harness whatever I've learned into what I'm doing right now, then that's like where I'm at right now.
Okay, so seems like you're a very curious person. Tell us, what is a polymath for the benefit of our listeners?
Yeah, polymath is something that they used to define very creative geniuses back in the day. Like, let's say, for example, you got Leonardo da Vinci, you got Benjamin Franklin, you got some very talented people who were master of multiple, who tried their hands on multiple things when back in the day when you're only told to just do one or two things in life. You just have to, if you're in a certain class, you had to just do what you're designated to do. While the other people who were what they call polymaths, they tried their luck in different areas. They've had some achievements. They did not have. They've been successful in certain areas, not successful in other areas. But it's just a way for you to just immerse yourself in what the world can offer. That's why I call polymath. Nowadays, with the internet and the way the labor force is structured, like people are trying different things. I'm just not the only polymath. I just call myself a polymath in training because I don't know what my potential will be in terms of trying these different things and see what works.
Yes, yes, yes. So I think I could relate to that as well because being a qualified accountant right now, I've been in that industry. I've been in as an accountant, but then as a consultant over the course of my career for the past 15 years. And now I'm podcasting. And at the same time, I'm entering into the space of psychology where I'm now a hypnotherapist.
Yeah,
Kudos to us for trying different things.
yeah. It's if you're as they say, jack of all trades and master of one. If you can do that, then I think everybody in this world can be a polymath if given the right opportunity and the right amount. If the person is interested in these different things and they're getting good at it, when I mean like they're competent at what they're doing, then yeah, you can be
Okay.
considered a
Hmm. So what? Okay, then my. Okay, now I'm going down into the details. Like, so you consider yourself as a polymath, but then what about people who actually wanted to try different things? Another thing, but they're scared. Like, what are your advice or say steps
uh,
that you wanna give to them if they
if
want to
you're
do it, but they're scared?
I think it's more like I would just say if you want to do it, don't try to rush into it because you don't know what the what it is on the other side. So I would say if you want to try it, just try it slowly. Don't overdo it. Don't try to rush into something and assume that you're going to become successful or something like that. Because if you try to stick the way I would say this, that if you're rushed into something, you feel like you'll see a lot of you'll feel like you're doing well, but then there's always some sort of like a drawback at the same time being thrown at you, and that drawback can be the cause of your fear because your fear of failing, as they say, you're afraid of failing. So if you try to rush into it, then like there's more challenges they'll be thrown at you, and then you'll get overwhelmed, and you will feel kind of I don't want to do this. I don't want. I'm too afraid of doing this. And my other suggestion would be just try it out, do it slowly, and don't try to be afraid because you have only one life in life. You've only one life on this planet, so might as well take advantage of whatever's given to you.
Mm. So, what was it like for you? Like, were you like this since you were a kid? Like, you knew that you wanted to try all these different things?
It was natural for me as a kid. I was never good at everything. I was just natural in terms of starting it. It's like, all right, I just want to get into something, but my parents keep telling me that you're very good at starting, but you're not good at taking it further to the end. So
Finish.
that's why
I
I've
get that.
never
I
I,
used to get that.
like when I was young, I was like, okay, let me try this. Let me try this activity. Let me try playing. Let me try doing let me try doing creative arts or something like that. It's not very I mean it's yet to one thing about just not if you're just starting but not go so deep into it that the advantage is that you get to just feel the experience of doing it instead of you don't have to if you feel like you have to be good at it, then the pressure just goes up and up and up instead of you want to feel the fun of doing the activity.
So, would you say you've already like sort of balanced it out over the course of
Yeah.
your age where you're like, okay, I know that I'm good in starting new things, but not so good in following through most, if not all of them. What's your experience like? Because I can certainly tell you
Yeah,
mine.
I'll tell you this. I'll be turning 30 in January of next year. If you had to put yourself, I haven't turned 30 yet, but I've seen a lot of things that the average person would not be able to like see and experience. Doing different things, seeing different
Mm,
places, like taking a
right.
challenge and pushing it to the end. It's like what you call it. I set a goal when I was like 22, or 20, let's just say 25. By the time I turn 30, I need some accomplishments in my life. And, like what you've seen with the book and the podcast, I went all out and just be like, okay, let me publish this before I turn 30 because if whatever happens, let's just say after 30 and my life gets so boring or let's just say I have nothing else left to contribute to the world, at least I got
Oh,
to have
excuse
that one phase
me.
in life where I did everything I wanted. I just went all in and it just when
So, and that would be so so can I say the accomplishment so far for you at least is the book and the podcast?
Yeah, those are like what I call the signature achievements. I mean, I have other things on my belt that I've accomplished,
Right.
but that's just like the two signature things that I've tried to accomplish. I mean,
Okay.
even though they're not the best in the world, but it's for like if it's for yourself. If you just did it for yourself for once and you just went all in and you just did it, it feels like an achievement unto itself.
Whew. Okay. Now, can you walk us through your career journey? And the next question would be the highlights and the setback you have faced.
Yeah, I would say I would definitely say that when I graduated college, back in 2017, I moved to Atlanta. So that's where I started my first initial innings of my career, where I got into sales and I got into real estate. I tried these two things, and that was it was moderately the sales was a complete disaster because I was not very good at actually selling. They evaluate you on how many items you sell, or otherwise they won't give you like the exact amount of money you need. So I was like, screw it, I'm not. That's not for me because I don't like to. They always tell you knock doors. You got to knock on doors, and when you knock on doors and you have to
Cold
say, oh,
calling.
uh, was it?
Mm-hmm. You
Yeah,
you have to do cold callings?
not really cold calling, but like what do you call it? Go to neighborhoods and knock on door to door sales. Those are not That's
Right.
not the most fun thing because you don't know the customer and you gotta knock on the door,
Yeah.
bother that customer at the most inopportune time for them, and you have to sit there, you have to stand up there and just tell everything about the product. What is the benefit? How he can benefit you while you're standing there being so stiff because you're pretty much nervous about what the other guy will do to you if you're like, okay, they'll just slam the door shut. I mean, that's people will say that's fine. But in reality, not many people have that courage to be able to pull through that. But I
Mm-hmm.
would say sales was like not the best, not my favorite thing. So I went into real estate, just wanted to check out, see how that field works. Cause I always wanted to own, and I just wanted to learn from the
Right.
people around and see. They show me around how all these things work. And yeah, that was moderately successful, but not. It was not going to be like something where I wanted to advance myself in terms of okay, I want to be like very good as a real estate agent, a real estate broker, real estate, all that stuff. And that was not for me. So I went to the U. So I guess got this opportunity to go study in the UK for grad school because it was just a lot of stories that a lot of things have happened that led to that moment where I said, you know what, I need to get out of the country and just go travel abroad for a bit and see the other side of the world. And I said, let me just go to the UK. Because I did study abroad in Spain before. I want to do it one more time in the UK. So I just fill it up and all right, I've gone to one really good university in the UK. Just went up and went over there, spent 1 year, and that was a fun. That was a. I would call that the highlight of my life so far. That would be that 1 year of my life where I did that. I feel like I was the happiest. And then once that
Mm.
happened, went back home. COVID hit. My whole career path. Like I wanted to go in the marketing field, and that did not work according to plan because I was about to get this one job in the field, and then COVID hit. The whole thing shut down, and the whole like
Mm.
the whole all you couldn't get a job anywhere. So I had to pivot my thing to something where it's more tangible, which I'm not really. I wouldn't say like okay, I'm very good at, but at least there are more openings for that than in marketing. So it was technology, it was IT. So I just went into
Mm-hmm.
that. I started off going to like working with a staffing agency, making sure they placed me in the right company to start that. So within a couple of months, I finally broke through the fact that okay, I got a job in the field, and that was literally just 1.5 years post COVID. So I said like 1.5 years since like I came back from the UK when I. It was like 1.5 years of dealing with COVID, dealing with unemployment setbacks, dealing with financial setbacks. Everything was just pretty difficult phase, and
COVID was it is.
that was
Yeah, it
yeah,
was. It was.
that was what I call my most humbling phase. And I managed
Mm.
because
Same.
I felt like I was in cloud nine. I was on top of the world, feeling so arrogant, feeling like I wanted to just conquer the world. And when COVID happened, it just when you went back into square one.
Yeah.
I secured that job. I worked pretty hard. I made some good amount of money so that then I could put that into like my personal endeavors, which is writing a book and starting a podcast. Especially first, I started off with starting a podcast first, and from there I went into writing a book. So within just like a span of 2 years, I managed to just have reach a pretty good successful podcast with over 100 plus episodes, like interviewing visionaries and people who are like, looking to make an impact in their field with what they're building and why they're building it. And I wrote a book on. I've also managed to publish that one book, that first book. So I'm like, okay, now I'm pretty much set on that front. Now I have to pursue more new opportunities in the coming months and years. So
So were you always want to like know what you're gonna do next, or you just like kind of I have a plan, 50% of it like I have this sorted out, but then 50% I'm gonna let go and let the higher power. sort itself for me. What is your
I would
take on that? Mm.
I would say 50%. It was just anything that I want to do. It's just spontaneous. It
Oh,
just
okay.
comes. It's like when you want to do it, or else don't do it. And you
Mm.
still, and you also have to also keep in account that you when you have a mortgage to pay, you have to factor in like, okay, not just what you want to do, what is now you have to factor in what you have to do to pay the bills.
Mm. Mm.
So
Mm.
it's more like
So,
from basically from starting back when I left for college all the way to now, it's just like one big adventure. All the way to now ending up buying a home.
well, so did you end up buying a home then?
Yeah, yeah. Just recently, just a few months ago.
Awesome. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks, thanks. It's a journey that is very tough. You have your ups and your downs, but you just keep pushing yourself, and you'll be able to achieve the goals you want.
Yeah, yeah. Now, ST, what have you discovered about yourself throughout this journey?
One thing I discovered about myself is the moment I delve into something very slowly, especially when I'm trying to delve into something big and not rush into it, as I mentioned earlier, you get to really experience the journey better than if you just wanted to just do it for the sheer purpose of achieving and without any like journey, without any growth or.
Mm.
So I feel
Mm.
like that. I feel like that's what I kind of developed because if you were to meet me 10 years ago, I would be the most impulsive guy you've ever met.
Yeah. Okay, so you have mellowed down then. Like I think, like I said, you
Yeah,
balanced some things out.
I've experienced 20 years of life within in just 20 to 30 years of life in the last 10 years. You kind of have to mellow down as you have to mellow down. You got to be very smart in how you're tackling problems instead of just
Mm.
jumping into it and getting instead of jumping into the problem and thinking you're going to solve it, you just have to go slowly, just see what all these different avenues are. Like what are the coming to you, and how can you solve it?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with our listeners. So, have you ever struggled with your sense of self, seeing that you have dabbled into so many things in your life? So,
It's really hard to explain that in words because you could only. It's like if you ever whatever you because one thing is do I do this very strange thing where I talk to myself a lot. Like when I talk to myself.
wow. Okay.
This is I talk to myself a lot, especially when I'm not in front of. Just this is a very profound secret of mine. It's just I talk to myself when I'm alone, and
Mm.
if I'm in a very I don't know. So what was your question again? Sorry, I'm trying to remember that.
Yeah, my question was, have you ever struggled with your sense of self, seeing that you've dabbled into so many things so far?
I don't know. I just basically incorporate myself into those scenarios more than anything else. I would say if I struggle with it, it would merely be because of the challenges that are thrown at you when you're solving them, when you're getting into that zone of work or zone of whatever you want to pursue. So yeah, the secret is that I do talk to myself and just keep myself mentally sane when I'm doing it.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah, therapeutic.
Having somebody to talk
Yeah,
to, which is yourself, because you know yourself better than
it only
anybody else. Then what are your thoughts about going to therapy or talking to like a counselor?
I think, yeah, I feel like I have trusted people I can just vent my problems out to. It's,
Mm.
it's all I need. I don't think I need like a therapist to have multiple visits. I just need like few moments where I just have someone to talk to and just like throw every problem. I just throw whatever problems I have within me. I just throw it out at that person. I mean, but on the basis that that person is just willing to listen. Just listen because all I needed to do is just remove all that burden from myself. That's kind of what I just vent
Yeah.
with privately with other people.
It's like you know how to solve it within you, but you just need to say it out so that you can sort of strategize how do I go about tackling
Yeah,
this one and next and the next and then yeah.
yeah, because also considering the fact that I've been pretty mobile in my life, it's really hard to feel grounded on one therapist. And I feel if all I have to do is just vent. If I just vent to one person, like one trusted person, that alone solves like 90% of my mental problem.
Yeah. Thank you. What have you learned about the world so far? Just that was yourself, now is the world.
Um, the world. The world is what you perceive it to be. That's what I feel. It could be in the last 10, I've seen like I've seen the world change for the better and for the worst, but at the same time, I've also seen the world stay the same since when I finished high school. Yeah, I feel like if I see the world around me, it's either it's a constant state of constant state of just stillness, or it can be a constant state of chaos. So it depends on
Yes.
world I which world I experience around me at that given moment.
Okay. So how do you navigate between the two?
Well, I mean, it's just experience. It's just you have to put yourself in the scenarios, and then you develop coping mechanisms. You develop coping strategies through that. I remember times when I felt like if I had to disclose my happiest moment was when I was just, in fact, let me just make it this way. If I can disclose my best moment in my life and my worst moment solely based on where I was. So let's just say the best and most happiest moment of my life was when when I was just alone walking next to a lake walking next to a lake surrounded by very picturesque looking mountains and trees and very like picturesque like towns. This was in Austria actually.
Mm.
Walking right around this lake. It's like you feel like you've seen the world at its most amazing look. It feels so pretty. It feels so spiritually powerful just being in that one area. I feel like that will consider that. And this was also when I was also alone. I was not with anyone. I just wanted to just feel it myself. And I feel like that was like the happiest moment of all. If I had to reflect on everything, that would be the happiest moment. My worst moment is, I would say, it only took place when there was chaos. It's like the happiest moment comes when you're still, and the worst moment happens when it's chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I found, excuse me, it was so chaotic the past few days because I was attending a wedding, and now is the time that I needed to. Today was the first day I got back into podcasting, and I'm like, I cannot dream of a better time to do podcasting like right now. Like when you're in the motion of it, like every day you're talking to people and they say, okay, I feel like, okay, I need to do something exciting. And then when you're actually in that and it's taking so much of your energy, and then coming back to just preparing for this and then just talking, it has that effect of meditating almost for me. So I think echoing back to what you said, stillness is actually very powerful,
Yeah,
and
because what
chaos is, yeah.
Yeah, chaos, especially if it's bad, if the chaos is so bad, it does affect you where you don't know what to do. You feel kind of lost, and I think there's a saying there's a saying somewhere that it's not people don't feel alone when people. There's a reason why people feel lonely when they're surrounded by crowds. Even though they feel like they're surrounded by people, they
Mm.
should be able to be interacting, getting to know people, and feeling like that happy feeling when they're talking to people. But in reality, it's like you feel more if they're so different from you. If you're not in the same league as those other people surrounding you, you definitely feel alone. You definitely would feel like an outcast. And that if you're surrounded by that kind of chaos where you're not able to like mingle or get along with other people, then of course you're going to feel a bit like down and depressed. But
Mm.
because you can't control the environment that's surrounding you. But if let's just say if you're doing your podcast, what you said earlier, I would say because you're doing what you want to do, you have control as to what you want to do at that given moment. You didn't consult, you're not beholden to anyone. You're just beholden to yourself. And if you're beholden to yourself and you do what you want to do, then of course you're going to feel happy because there's no, if it's not you don't, it's not self-inflicted. Let's just say, like you didn't add, you didn't you're not beholden to someone else who will not make you happy, but if you're beholden yourself to yourself and you know how to make yourself happy, then yeah, that's what you need to do. Sorry, I was just being too
Yeah.
philosophical.
Oh, no, no. I love getting into this deep stuff. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, though.
Yeah, because this is what I do is like I like to go deeper into that world where you that no I like to go deeper into a certain world of conversation where it starts moving people. You can't really do it. Let's just say if you're meeting new people, if you're dealing with chaotic situations, you just cannot have deep conversations. Because you're into those deep and meaningful conversations, you feel more invigorated than if you're actually drinking, as they say.
Yeah. Superficially.
Yeah, superficial. The
Just,
the world is so
yeah.
superficial up there, but if you try to go deeper and go have these meaningful conversations, you definitely feels like a sense of,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So, what is next for you?
what is next for me? Who knows what's next for me? Just keep there are things that are happening right now in my life that I feel it's gonna be good. There are other things where I
Mhm.
fear what's gonna happen that may not happen that may happen to me, which may not make me what I want to be. But but it's more because now that I have a job and I have a home, at least I'm not at least I am kind of like not having to worry about let's just say paying the mortgage. I can maybe get another job to pay the extra remaining mortgage. But I would say yeah, it just depends on what's given, what the opportunities present to me. If I like them, if I want to take advantage of them, I just go for it. Because I think if I had to say to myself, the one thing I've done before I turned 30 was do whatever I wanted to do as a kid.
And that would be.
That's a lot of activity, a lot of things. Everything I wanted to do as a kid, I feel like I've done other than flying planes.
Oh, yeah, I've always wanted to become a pilot as well.
But the world is limitless, actually. As long as you're around those opportunities that come to you and you take advantage.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you for that. Now, I'm going to pivot to a self-worth question because my podcast talks about self-worth. So, the question for you, ST, how does the process of self-discovery and building self-worth differ for introverts and extroverts? And what unique challenges might each face?
Introverts they try, as they say, introverts is developing yourself from the inside. Extroverts means you're depending on other people for you to be worthy of something. Like if you ever see all the most successful people in the world, especially in successful inventors, people have built all these different things, these different electronic devices, like your microphone that you're speaking on. These are all built by introverts because their sense of self-worth comes from their own thoughts and imagination. Well, I mean, it's just more like the one thing about introverts is that as long as they do what they want to, as long as they just make themselves happy or make their self-worth worthy by just doing what they want to do and just do what they want, then yeah, that's where they'll feel happy and worthy. Extroverts, as they say, it's more like just you have to talk to people. You feel like the energy comes from when you're talking to people than when you're just living when you're by yourself. So extroverts mostly just get their self-worth just from mingling. That's it. Like if you feel like you've met all the people in the world that you want to meet, without having to feel tired from meeting people, then yeah, that's what you call yourself an extrovert. Me, I'm leaning more introvert because I'd like to be more alone, not really like to socialize all the time. It's like if I want to socialize, it has to come first. It has to come from within. I feel like, and also there has to be what you call an aura.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like it has like
Finding a
conversation.
reason.
Like there has to be a reason, or there has to be. If I want to talk to this person, I just don't want to just have surface level. Hey, how are you? What do you do? What is this? X, Y, Z. All right. So what we're doing this. He's doing that. No match. Go away. I don't like doing that. I like to sit down and spend. If I like this person, I want to sit down and spend 1 or 2 hours just opening ourselves up to opening our and go deeper into conversation. That's what I like doing. Like before, I used to think the secret to success is like short form conversations with multiple people. But for me now, it's just sitting down with one person who is very worthy for me, and I just hash it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I'm
So,
just
what are
saying.
the challenges each face,
Yeah, the challenges
in your
each
opinion?
face, like introverts have to deal with societal stigma against them. Like societal stigma against them. Extroverts have to deal with okay, basically society telling them to shut up. That's basically those two. Societal stigma for not talking and societal stigma for trying to talk too much. Those are the two. I feel like that's the main challenge that each side faces.
Again, the key is to balance. I don't think one person can just be introverted all the way throughout their lives, and also a person cannot be extroverted all the way until the day that they die.
I mean,
And
the way those terms
uh,
are defined are kind of defined as you have to be overtly. It's like you have to be extroverted means you're talking to everyone. It's just they kind of define those terms in the most extreme forms.
mm,
They never really define them as to what they're supposed to be, which is just okay. I don't want to talk to a lot of people. I want to be left alone. It's not like you're shy. I'm shy as an introvert. I'm not shy. I just don't want to
yeah,
talk to people because you're internally recharging
yeah,
yourself. you're pretty much recharging yourself internally when you're taught after you've spent a long day of conversation. So it's
Trust
like
me,
if
yeah.
I spend one whole day in an event where I talk to so many different people, I get so tired that the next day I just don't want to leave the house.
Yeah, I just want to shut down. Do not disturb me. Exactly. So, what is your heart's greatest wish?
My what?
Your heart's greatest wish.
My heart's greatest wish. I don't know, just like the opportunity to explore the world more in depth, not just simply just going to London, going to Tokyo, and just like getting drunk. I want to really have a super fit. If I want to see the world, I want to have it in a very deep manner. Like I want to see not just a large city, but like the hinterlands, as they say in the UK, like the middle of nowhere in that
Oh.
one country. The middle of nowhere.
Mhm.
It's I think that's my greatest wish is just to be able to just go out into the most remote part of the world and just sit down and just build friendships with people in that remote part.
I love that. Do you have a mantra that you live by?
I mean, basically 3 words: attitude, availability, and productivity.
Can you expand on that?
It's more like I used to work at this company where they emphasize those 3 words, and as long as it's more, this is kind of how people should be hiring people in their companies rather than try to look for the best of the best. If you try to start looking for the best and the brightest might screw things up or who might not be loyal to your company, or like in terms of okay, they're not worthy of your company. If you try to get someone if you're hiring someone in, then it's better to hire someone with a great attitude you can work with and make sure they're available to work and develop to deliver what you want and keep them going. It's like if you have those 3 words, I feel like your company can be successful in a way. You don't have to keep relying on very very smart people. This is why I call myself like the guy who likes to explore things rather than be like the master of this one domain. Because let's just say if this domain goes away, let's just say if I'm the master of making teacups, and let's just say the teacup industry just goes away, and you don't know what else to do. It's better to just start at the bottom and have a great attitude and just learn things and just be productive. And that's kind of how you'll be able to try these different things out there instead of trying to be the expert on everything. So it's kind of like the
And
mantra.
so the mantra was availability, no,
You have
attitude, availability,
and productivity. If you have
productivity.
first 2 things, you'll be able to be productive.
Thank you for sharing. Now, is there anything that keeps you up at night, or do you sleep well?
Keeps me up at night. I think the constant change of the world sometimes keeps me up at night. Now I have to the stress of trying to adjust to the change that the world has thrown at me sometimes keeps me up at night.
Yeah.
If the world completely keeps changing no matter what, then I have to force myself to keep adjusting to the world, or at least try to overcome that change. And sometimes if you don't have the answer to it, then I can't really. I would be struggling to.
If you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
That's a good question, which I'm trying to think from the top of my head. I mean, my favorite quote is "Carpe diem" "Carpe diem," seize the moment. That's my favorite quote is "seize the moment" because you don't know what's going to happen. But I would say most memorable. I do. My most memorable quote is always try to be the like always try to be the like whenever okay, let me think. Don't try to be the king.
Don't try to be the king.
Don't try to be the king because everyone will throw. That means you have to be responsible for the entire world throwing stuff that you don't want to be thrown. I would say, yeah, because nowadays, you've seen the latest stories about, people who try to be at the top of their game. They're always being threatened, or they always.
Mhm.
It's more like a lot of especially if you, unless you're, yeah. I would just say when you're starting out in life, don't try to be the king. But then work your way to and go slowly rise to become the king.
Thank you. So how can people reach out to you?
So I got me on social media on it. I got my name on Instagram, and with my handle is st.tangirala 1995. So yeah, you can reach out to me on Instagram. You got me on LinkedIn, and I also, if you ever want to come on my podcast, and talk about what you're trying to build, you're more than welcome to come on and show what you got.
Awesome. There you have it, guys. You heard it from the person himself, St. Tangirala. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
The last name is easiest for husband.
Before we close off, ST, I'd like to thank you personally for the work that you're doing for the world and for advancing every step of the way despite the challenges, creating trails for those that will come after you. For our listeners, this has been that one podcast with that controversial name, You're Worthless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. Now, if you find yourself thinking that you are worthless, you're probably not alone. But more importantly, ask yourself a level deeper. If I'm worthless, then why the heck am I here? It is because your soul have chosen to be here energetically, all the way from the ethers. And for that reason itself, you are worthy and you are enough. This has been ST Tangirala, your guest of the day, and Nierras, your host, signing off. Thank you, ST, for your time.
Thank you, Nick.